In this episode, don't be a jabroni, adapt. Don't be a fucking jabroni. You gotta adapt, home slice.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 607 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular podcast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. And I went easy on that one today. I went simple and straight to the point. I just went for the podcast. What the fuck is up, bitches? Fuck each and every single one of you for watching this show. I'm just kidding. I just like to say things that no one else will say, because then I'm Papa Swole. And I need more coffee. So I got my mug today, and of course, Facebook and Instagram feels the need to reverse the camera. So bacon gives me a reason to get out of bed. This mug is the shit. So I'm going to pour myself another cup of Joe and introduce everyone to episode 607. Today's episode is Don't Be a Jabroni, Adapt. Don't be a fucking jabroni, adapt. And I had a great conversation with a brand new Swolenormous X member. So shout out. And it's funny that we had this conversation because this topic came up. So we're going to jump into that in a second. Remember, everyone, if you have questions, drop them during the show. So drop the questions. We're live right now on Instagram and Facebook. And I will be taking some of those questions and giving shout outs. So what's going on? Randy, Eric, Jessica, Randy again. The Phil V, everyone, is on Instagram. And we got Jay Cliffs, Ty Neezy. What up, D? So a lot of people's coming in. So you can drop, yes, we're live right now, Tom, obviously. And it's not live necessarily every day, but I'm going to go live whenever I can. So I will be live as long as I'm here and I can get the high quality audio and we can rock this, it'll be live. So that's why, and I said this before, that's why you have to turn your post notifications on. You have to turn your post notifications on, and it's going to keep you on your toes. So people get lax when it's guaranteed. It's every day it's live, or it's every day at this time. People get lazy, and then people stop showing up. And I hated, having to get people to fucking wake up sometimes. So I'm going to keep you on your toes. But the Daily Swole will always be posted at 12, whether it's live or not. So make sure you turn your notifications on, so when I'm live, you could jump right in. That's the most important thing, is that you're here when I'm here. What's going on, everyone? Yes, so today's episode 607. Again, it's Wednesday, so it's 2 days after the launch and the amazing success of the Best Year Ever workshop. And a lot of you are emailing me about your takeaways from the Best Year Ever workshop. So if you were, those of you that are here, did you attend? If you're watching right now, who of you that are watching live attended the Best Year Ever workshop? Did you watch it? Did you check it out? Drop your comments below, because I want to know, because sometimes you might have forgotten to email me your thoughts and your responses, and I want to make sure I get your feedback, because that's how we make things bigger and better all the time. So getting back to the original conversation, the topic came up, adaptation and the need to adapt. And CrossFit came up, and random exercise came up, and the importance of adapting, the importance of adaptation, that came up. And I wanted to reiterate and debunk a myth and debunk a mindset that I think is very important to debunk. And I'm not sure what's with this bunk, but we gotta D it. We gotta give the bunk the D. We gotta give the bunk some more D, because we need to debunk it. I mean, the bunk always need to be D'd, apparently, because everyone's trying to debunk things. Or if you bunk something, but you want to debunk it. I don't know. That's like a weird American phrase. So we are going to lift the veil on this random exercise. And we're going to lift the veil on this random approach to physical activity rather than training, like a program like we've talked about. Bunk? Something like bunk? That coffee's legit. So with these group training atmospheres, namely CrossFit, that's what most people are familiar with, The inherent flaw is that there's so fucking many of them. And if you know anything about any subject, you know that as the quantity increases, the quality decreases. Am I right? Am I right, fam? Float some hearts if you agree with that comment. As the quantity increases, the quality will decrease. You can only do so much. Like if you're giving a speech, right, to 1 million people, you would get a lot more attention if you're talking to 10. You get more one-on-one. Like the quality will go down. If you're trying to produce something handmade, handcrafted, and you're making 10 of them, okay. But then if you got to make 1 million, you got to get a warehouse and shipping and stuff, and you got to stamp them out, boom, 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 and make them really fast. And then mistakes are going to happen. So if you make 10, you're going to have high quality, no errors. And then you're going to have 1 million, you might have 10,000 that have issues, right? So with any kind of product, as the quantity increases, the quality is just generally going to go down. It just makes sense. It'll go down. So with all these, the whole box setup, right? And this goes really for personal trainers. It goes for any field. It goes for doctors. It really goes for anything. But as something gets popular, and if the bar is set too low for entry, you get a lot more quantity and a lot lower quality. So I would say, and I'm valuing your opinion. So this is a great response. So listen to what I'm going to say right now. And your opinion, I want you to drop that in the comments right now. There are bad doctors and good doctors, right? I'm going to set this whole thing up with this perspective. But doctors have a higher minimal requirement, like that bar, like you have to go to med school, you have to pass the boards. So that minimum necessary education and competency is, I would say, pretty high. I mean, of course, relative to, of course, once you get, and you just look at only doctors, then of course you can get more disparity, but you have a minimum standard. When CrossFit, and even still with the fitness industry, just so you all know, one of the reasons why this industry is so fucked up is that there's no standards with fitness. There's no requirements. I don't know if you knew this. There's no requirement for fitness. There's no required. You don't need a personal training certification. Did you know that? Did you know that a personal training certification just might as well mean jack shit? No one wants to say that because certifications make a ton of money. But you don't need it. I'm not saying they're worthless. I'm saying you don't need it. You need a certification if the gym requires it, if your insurance requires it, if there is a requirement for you to have one. Now, a certification can educate you. It can give you a minimum competency. It can prove to a client that you have a minimum understanding. But really, it gives you just that, a minimum understanding. So a personal training certification doesn't mean the person knows what the fuck they're talking about. Trust me. I know plenty of people that have certifications that don't know their ass from their elbow. They think their elbow is their fucking ass. Can you believe it? Papa Swole, can you believe it? So that being the case, because you don't need a certification, so when you start and you launch a gym like that, like a CrossFit, it's a little bit different now, but when it started, and it got popular so quick that it blew up too quick and they had to put a lid on it, but it's like gun laws, right? If you banned guns, let's say the laws change and it was illegal to have guns, it's too late. So I'm not going to get into the whole debate whether you should or we should have guns in this world. They exist. There's so many of them. Even if you really truly believe that you should ban them, it's stupid. Like there's so many, it's not even worth, like it won't do anything. Because they're out there. What are you going to, right? So it doesn't make sense. Like that whole argument is just so stupid. I understand people that want peace and people that want their freedom, but it's like, it's too late. Like we didn't start from the other, so it's like, it's not even an argument in my opinion. Just leave it. Let it go, right? So what happened with CrossFit and with these gyms is that pretty much you can get a certification in a weekend and then open a gym. And you would pay CrossFit like a few $1,000s to use their name. So you could say, call your name such and such CrossFit or Miami CrossFit or John's CrossFit or Mike's CrossFit or Papa Solio's CrossFit. That would never happen. But that's what it was. And you're teaching people Olympic lifting and high impact shit and really fucking intense, not even programmed, just like poorly executed, coming from people that weren't educated. Now, there are a lot of people that are CrossFit certified. There are a lot of CrossFit gurus or a lot of CrossFit boxes, whatever you want to call them, that have very highly qualified people working there. So that's just to give both angles. I'm not saying that everyone that does CrossFit, psycho, they're stupid, they suck. No, there's a lot of highly educated and highly qualified, fitness professionals that are proponents and that are involved with CrossFit and that own gyms and all that. But when it started, it got so popular, so fast, and everyone and their fucking mother was opening in a garage and just a freaking anywhere, because the whole idea of CrossFit is you don't need a gym. You just need a tent outside. You need a parking lot to have a CrossFit. You need land. You pretty much need to have a pulse and like a 10 square foot of land to have a CrossFit box. So they popped up everywhere. And so the quality was low to begin with, and the quantity was just fucking like out of control. And then all of a sudden, now I believe, I don't read up on the shit, but I believe they changed the requirements. Like you have to do X amount of hours, you have to intern somewhere to get certified. Like now it's like the bar, yeah, but it's like too little too late. You're already in, the damage has been done and the quantity has far surpassed. So, and that's and that's the same thing with personal training. Personal training is saturated with just quantity. The quality is poor because there's no one certification, there's no licensing, there's no medical boards, there's random certifications, and it's only dependent on what the gym requires. That's it. That's it. That's the scary part. That's why I don't talk about certifications. That's why I don't go and do CEUs. That's why I don't do that shit, because it's just money. They want money so they can keep on running their business. They want you to pay $200 to take this quiz, so you send it in, so you get 0.2 CEUs, so you can add them up and then recertify. It's just money. It's just money. It's not even fucking good information. Like a lot of that stuff is just crap. It's a fucking scam. A lot of those CEUs and that shit is a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. They're just trying to get your money. They're just trying to get your money. So I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm at the point where, fuck that. Information, you're on my phone. Information's on the phone. You have a question, you got to self-educate. I have a card on the wall, self-education. Now, I'm not saying don't get a certification. I'm not saying don't do any of those certifications, but it's the execution and the real-world application that's going to get you really that knowledge. And that's why I have so much knowledge, because I have been in the field, I put into practice, right? Okay. So because of all that, you have a lot of undereducated people, a lot of quantity, low quality, and then you have this idea that you could be, that you do everything. That you can do everything. That you can go swimming and running and then do a billion snatches and do heavy weights and do light weights and then go running and then go row and do all this stuff. Jack of all trades, right? You can master all. No. The famous quote, for a reason. There's a reason why things become sayings, right? There's a reason why sayings become sayings, because they're fucking true. There's a reason why stereotypes become stereotypes, because they're largely true. No one wants to admit that, but stereotypes are fucking true for the most part. That's why they become stereotypes. We say that because no one wants to call it racism or making fun of a specific set of people or degrading someone, but stereotypes are just generalities for a group of people or a group of a situation. They're just true. That's why they're called a stereotype. It's just a PC way of saying, oh, most of these types of people or this group is like this. That's what a stereotype is. And you could say that about anything, professions, races, everything. So the saying is, jack of all trades, master of none. And remember right now, drop some comments and some questions. I'm going to answer a few at the end. Jack of all trades, master of none. That's that famous saying, right? Float some hearts if you've heard that before, just because I can't see you raise your fucking hand. So, jack of all trades, master of none. So, you cannot be a master of all trades. That's why there's specialties. So what happens is, because you can't be a master of all trades, you can only be a jack. You can't be a Papa Swole of all trades. You can only be a jack of all trades. You can be so mediocre at a lot of different things. So then each one of those modalities is at risk as an effect. And that's why the injury rates of random exercise is so high. Because you get exhausted, you become acclimated slightly to a bunch of different things, but the overload, your body never fully adapts to master that type of overload, so the risk is disproportionately high for the activity. And it's just a matter of time before the wrong move in the wrong situation. You can't do snatches and long distance running and rowing and swimming and curling and crunches and wall balls and this and that and that and this and be good at everything. At one point, sooner or later, you are going to do something with an overload in a move that you can't possibly be an expert in just because the concept of jack of all trades, master of none, and an injury is going to happen, okay? And the reason is because on the board, or you can't see it, but you'll see it when I post later, is the adaptation. Don't be a jabroni, adapt. You're not going to get a result that you want unless you give your body consistent stress so you can adapt to it. And if you want to build muscle, then you better give consistent stress in a specific way with a program, with training, not exercise, not a workout, training, progressive, specific, and you'll get that adaptation. However, if you do random shit, you'll be tired, you'll be exhausted, chances are you'll get hurt, and you won't get all the way to your goal. Now, I'll get some comments, I'll get some people dropping nukes saying, oh, well, I lost so much weight, my friend lost so much weight doing CrossFit, this, that. Sure, you're not sitting on the fucking couch eating Cheetos. Of course you're going to start losing weight. You've been a fat, lazy ass your whole life. You start moving and you saw some change. Holy fucking shocker. Really? Really? I'm not saying you can't gain some results, but there's a misconception with exhaustion correlating to a good workout, being tired to a good workout, bleeding from the fucking hands to a good workout, to a warrior. You're not a warrior. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, fam. I'm sorry, John from accounting. You're not a fucking warrior. Just because you skinned your shin doing deadlifts in a garage doesn't make you a fucking warrior. Okay? We're not the Incas. We're not fucking warriors anymore. Life is different. So if you are going to train, you need a systematic approach. So bottom line, you need to allow your body to adapt. I'm not saying, quit your CrossFit, whatever. I want you to make your own judgment yourself. This is just the facts. When you can't master everything, when you can't have command, you are at extreme risk, especially when you do high impact, when you do speed movements, when you do highly technical Olympic lifting with minimal experience yourself, being led by people with minimal experience. So there are a lot of loopholes, and that's the reason why the injury incidence is so high. I understand it's fun for a lot of people. I understand there's a community. I get that we have community here. I know that's addictive. But at the same time, what results do you want? So if you want to build muscle, you got to do things that will build muscle. Very good. Very good. We all here. We're learning. If you want to lose weight, let's do specific things to lose weight. One of the biggest things that can set you back is not doing the wrong exercise, It's not eating the wrong food. It's fucking getting hurt. You get hurt, you can't do shit. Hurts the brain, you get bummed out, you can't exercise, and things go to crap. That's why in Swolenormous X, everything is mobility and longevity based. That's why the best year ever workshop that we just did, fam, everyone that watched it, that's why it's a lifelong approach. It's longevity based, because if you're healthy, you can train, you can work out, you can grow, you can develop. It's that lifelong approach. And we don't have that. We don't have that when we're 25, 30, 35, 40, even 45 or 50. We don't have that long-term approach. It seems so far into the future until we wake up and we can't get off the fucking toilet. Then I'm like, oh man, I should have listened to Papa Swolio. I was too busy getting yoked. Oh, I pooped and I threw out my back again. Ay vey, Maud, get my stogie and my cane. I'll be in here for a while. That's it. Just my 5 cents. Papa Swolio don't give 2 cents. Papa Swolio drops nickels. I drop nicks. Make sure you are focused on adaptation. If you don't give your body a chance to adapt and you're doing random shit and you feel exhausted and you're flattened every fucking workout, it's amazing how many people I see on Instagram and on Facebook that are doing all this shit and are like, touting fitness and doing all these moves. And I'm just like, and it's not to be an ego, but it's like, man, I look better than you. And I'm not jumping, doing this fucking like ridiculous whack ass shit. Better physique. I'm healthy. Like I've fucking better beard. No, look, looking better is relative. That's subjective. But I'm just saying, like, most people work out to build muscle and have a physique and have abs. I just see people that are like flat stomach and skinny and doing snatches. Like, what the fuck are you trying? What are you doing? Like, why? Why? What fucking real world? What, snatch? Okay, like, who lifts that? I'm going to the gym. Let me pick up my gym bag. Yeah. I snatched it over my head. Great. What, so you can put that plate up on the shelf? Oh, you got to put 135 on that bar for those snatches then if you're going to do that. My thoughts. Let's take a couple questions. Thank you so much for joining me for this whole time. That was a good rage. That was good. Whenever I start talking about like group exercise, stuff like that, I start raging. Let's see. Mike, this first one I stopped on. Why does the 90-day dash cause no pain? Is it the exercise or the order of the exercise? It's both. It's zero impact. And it also focuses on mobility. So you're hitting those stabilizers, and it starts from the core, the base of the core, up and down. So when you start with the glutes, when you start with the center and that base, and you start with realigning the body, you minimize the risk of injury and you help realign the body. So when you progressively overload in the later weeks, you have the strength base and you just gets rid of pain. Good question. Michael Bastian, the CrossFit boxes where I live open up and close down within 6 months on a regular basis, all about the quick buck. Yeah, or they just don't know business. They're just trying to open up a gym. But there's no reason why a garage gym in the middle of like a fucking like ghetto should be $150 a month. It's ridiculous. $150 a month, right? $150 a month. And that's like, that's funny. It's like $150 a month. And that's just under that special offer I have for like a year of Swolenormous X. The 175 that you guys saw. That's special. Yeah, it's like you get the entire year and you have to pay that monthly of that fucking thing. Let's go on Instagram. Got some questions on there. Matt1577, if switching from dumbbell to bar or flat to vertical, too much change each week? No. Like, okay, when I talk about change, that's a good question. So let's go after that for a second. If you're talking about changing and adaptation, I want you to think, and this comes back to what are you trying to do? If you're trying to build muscle, you need acute variables that are going to trigger hypertrophy, which is muscle growth. And that's going to be coming down to volume. It's going to come down to the intensity of the lifts. It's going to come down to, like the sets and the repetitions. So you can do, for chest 1 week, you can focus around bar. The next week, go dumbbell. That's not enough change. That's variety, but that's not so much change that you're going to affect the adaptation because you're keeping the rep ranges consistent. You're keeping the volume consistent. If you're doing completely different stuff every week, yeah, it'll limit your ability to master and improve, like in strength, for example, with the bench press particularly. But strength gains are different than muscle gains. So if you're trying to go for hypertrophy, like muscle size, you don't necessarily have to be as like, okay, bench like this, bench every week, like, 10, 8, 6, 10, 8, 6, 10. That's more for strength. You'll build muscle too, but that's more for like a strength pyramid, right? Progression. But for bodybuilding, it's more about the volume. It's more about the sets to failure, the moderate rep ranges and the weights, but the volume. So barbell, dumbbell, that's not really as much. I mean, you could probably alternate. I mean, you could do both every workout, right? One week you can do barbell, one week you can do dumbbell. I don't see that really being that much of a change for most people. If you had a choice, I would do more dumbbell than barbell just because it's more neuromuscularly stimulating, better range of motion, more freedom, less risk of injury with dumbbells. Let's see. Let's get another question. Who's got a question for Papa Swole? I'm just scrolling. All right, cool. Let's do this last one. Varsha on Instagram. Do you say, if I do walk daily, I must improve in it? Like walking faster, longer distance? No. Look, if you're trying to lose weight, walking is going to have its plateau and this goes for anyone. This goes for running too. The body becomes very efficient. The body is very efficient at doing less work for the same output. So if you are running or doing any kind of cardio, your body will adapt very quickly. So there is a diminishing return when you're doing cardio. More isn't better. You're just going to plateau very quickly because your body will get used to doing a specific type of activity and become more efficient, burn less calories, and then maintain. So it's good to get started, but if you're looking for weight loss, it's resistance training and nutrition. Resistance training and nutrition. You don't need to go killing yourself with cardio. You can do general cardio for health, but do not go like increasing. No, you'll just exhaust yourself. You'll, wear yourself down. You'll burn a lot of calories, but it's mostly going to come down to building, living, breathing tissue, muscle, and making sure you nail your nutrition. So cardio is fine, or adding some in, but more doing half an hour and then doing an hour and a half. You're not going to get any more benefit. You need to have that physique. So unless you want to be flat, thin like a rail and not have any muscle tone, you really won't get like that because cardio, your body is going to plateau out. So good questions. And make sure everyone, if you have more questions, make sure you drop in the comments and also check back later for the full episode posted right here on the Facebook page. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for episode 607 of the Daily Mother Swole. If you have not yet left a Facebook review right here, make sure you click the review section right here on Facebook and leave me a review. I'm really love reading those reviews and giving all of you feedback and giving you shout outs on that. And if you have not yet registered or watched the Best Year Ever workshop, the link is in my Instagram profile, the bio, and it's also in the post description here. Best Year Ever workshop. It's on demand, so you can watch it right away. It's always a few minutes away from starting, so get on that, watch it. Let me know what you think. It's a great way to start the year, and it's only 3 days, 3 days in. It's still the time to get going. So peace, McGee's. Deuce Magoose, fam. I'll see everyone tomorrow for episode 608. Later.